Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review for the Bill Paxton Marathon. And this time it's a film. I did a review for this long ago, but I decided to take that review down because I was going to re-review it and I thought I could do a better job. And that's for a 1993 film starring Bill Paxton, Lindsay Frost, Gossett Jr., and John Hurt called Monolith. And the reason I have a DVD-R is because I don't even know if the movie's out on DVD. If it is, I couldn't find it. So a friend of mine was able to make me a DVD-R to watch it for Bill Paxton. And for those who don't know, Monolith was made in a time when it came out in 1993 where you had a lot of sci-fi action movies that were trying to be Lethal Weapon mixed with an alien sci-fi plot in that late 80s, early 90s field. You had Alien Nation, which took the Lethal Weapon buddy cop film and turned it on its head with dealing with aliens and humans working together. You had The Hidden, which, and I really enjoy the movie Alien Nation. The Hidden, people being possessed by this creature that would jump from body to body with Kyle MacLachlan. Really good film by Jack Shoulder, who directed Elm Street 2 and Wishmaster 2. The Hidden is a great one by Jack Shoulder. He also did a film Alone in the Dark from the 80s. That's a really good one. I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren and Brian Benben. Awesome movie, a favorite of mine. And weirdly enough, this was the same year, 1993, that The X-Files debuted, which had two FBI agents looking into the mysteries of the paranormal and UFOs and aliens. Now, the thing with Monolith, I would say at best, it's an okay, average time waster. I didn't hate the film. I I liked it okay, but the reason I liked it is for the cast. Bill Paxton, who's no longer with us, he does a great job. He's fun in the movie. You have Lindsay Frost, who I believe was in Dead Heat with Treat Williams. I think she was also in Collateral Damage. If I remember correctly, she played Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife at the beginning of Collateral Damage. I could be wrong on that. She did a really good job. Gossett Jr. is always a pleasure to see him, whether it be in The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren or Iron Eagle or so forth. And John Hurt, not John Hurd from Chud and Home Alone, John Hurt from the original Alien. He's no longer with us as well. We lost John Hurt. It's like John Hurt was an alien, Bill Paxton was an alien. They're both in this movie. We've lost them both. I think John Hurt passed away earlier this year as well. Might have been a little bit of 2016. I can't remember the date. The story, Bill Paxton, you get a little bit of backstory that he had a wife who died, who was killed, and he doesn't really want any partners on the job. But he's partnered up with Lindsay Frost, who's a tough, independent female, and they both have a bickering relationship with each other, which a lot of people would say is the buddy cop cliche. Although, come to think about it, it's not the most typical when it's a man and a woman being partners, if I think about it, as cop partners. Because you look at you look at the big famous buddy cop films, or buddy films, 48 Hours, Lethal Weapon, Tango and Cash, Bad Boys, and so forth. So it made it a little bit different. There was a man and a woman. I'm not saying it's never been done before, and you guys will name a lot of other instances, but I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I thought they worked well together. The dialogue could have used some work because the dialogue at times a little bit had me going, huh? They're really making you guys say that? Or, yeah, they're a little bit cliche. And cliche can work. People call the dialogue in I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren cliche, but I love that dialogue. It's fun, it's funny. Well, I'm a team player. Well, your team sucks. Oh, well, we don't tell them. Huh? We got drug dealers from outer space, huh? Trust nobody. Chapter 1, page 1. Dial your radio to KILL. See, that's dialogue that I think is fun and I can remember. Not much of the dialogue I can remember in this flick. So I think one problem is the writing as well as the direction could have been bumped up a notch. Because the director who had directed some Project Shadow Chaser films, which I've never seen them, I've heard of them, I know Martin Cove and others are in it, but I haven't seen any of them. Maybe one day. But yeah, I gotta give him a look. I'm not sure if he would have been the right choice for this flick. If he had a different director, maybe this would have improved the flick more because the pacing and the action scenes are not that memorable. Also, it seems like the alien threat is absent through good chunks of the film, which was a mistake. And also, it feels as if this movie was a made-for-cable movie. It was a made-for-cable film. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I'm trying to piece my words together. I was going to say made-for-TV, but made-for-cable seems a bit better. Or hell, there's some instances where I'm thinking, man, some of these scenes I could have watched in an X-Files episode. Speaking of that show, which debuted again the same year. It needed a bigger budget. I think if you gave it a bit more money and you had a different director, because all the other people I named and films I named, I Come in Peace. You had Trader Batchley, who had worked behind the scenes on Predator, and he had already directed a film like Action Jackson, and he knew how to squeeze the money and get some really well done action sequences for such a low budget. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if the budget for I Come in Peace was lower than this movie, but I Come in Peace looks fantastic. The Hidden. Jack Shoulder did a really good job and had some really memorable action set pieces, and both of them had the alien be a threat, a constant threat that our leads had to chase after and had to go after and was trying to keep up with this, as well as having some banter with each other. And yeah, you could throw in some other little stuff in there, but it was mainly their chase with this alien. And I think this film needed to look at I Come in Peace and The Hidden as examples of what to take from and what to, whether it be copy, rip off, however you want to put it. Also, I don't know why this is called Monolith, because there, if you're wondering, there is no Monolith like 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's none of that. There's no black rectangle thing that's gonna pop in the flick. So I don't know again why it's called Monolith. I like the title. And this is one of those films, I love the cover. I used to have it on VHS, but I don't have it anymore. I love the look of the cover. I remember the first time I saw it being disappointing, going, I mean, yeah, it's low budget, but so is I Come in Peace and The Hidden. Those are really good. But so I was getting into the plot of the film. Bill Paxton and Lindsay Frost, they're doing their things, and they meet up one day. Bill Paxton has this loaded up hot dog, and this big guy's like, hey, share some of that with me. He's like, okay. And at the same time, Lindsay Frost is driving, almost hits Bill Paxton, and they're arguing with each other. But then out on the street, a lady drives up and is chasing this little boy. And they chase after this woman. This woman shoots the little boy before the little boy touches Bill Paxton. And then the titles Monolith pops up. And I'm thinking, okay. Even when I first saw it, okay. These two cops, I think they have some nice chemistry with each other. Bill Paxton, always enjoyed him as an actor. Nice to see him in the lead. Lindsay Frost, she did perfectly fine. I did not think she was annoying or irritating or wooden. I thought she was good. Again, her dialogue, the dialogue could have been better. I think you needed. I'm looking at writers on some of these movies. Like, for example, a Jeb Stewart or a David Peoples, or the people who wrote I Come in Peace or The Hidden, for a little bit better pieces of dialogue. But the acting I thought was good. And okay, this woman kills this innocent looking boy. What's going on here? Gossett Jr. plays their captain. John Hurt of the cast, he's the one that, sad to say, he's really overdoing the acting. He's really over the top. He says he's in the Department of Historical Research, but he's pretty much feds, black ops. And John Hurt is really overdoing his performance to the point at times it's a little bit laughable. And they come in, they take the female murderer suspect away. And then there's Lindsay Frost and Bill Paxton join up with each other. She walks into the locker room to confront Bill Paxton. Hey, we're going to work together. And throughout the first 20-some minutes, even when I first saw it and watching it again, I'm getting into the film. These two bickering with each other, but I think the actors actually had some chemistry with each other. Again, they just needed a different writer on the script to pump up their dialogue. But I love the cast. Again, John Hurt, maybe he could have been toned down a bit, or maybe he just wasn't right for the part. I don't know. But the two cops are following this van who has the kid in this stasis, this sort of kind of like a little coffin. And they hear the kid's voice. They open it up. The special effects happen, and the van is on fire. Bill Paxton and Lindsay Frost are going, what the fuck's going on? And the van goes down the hill, and they go towards it, and they look and see what's going on. And the alien has jumped to another body and has walked up the hill and is looking at him. It's a cool shot at actual fireball, because this alien, when it's in a body, it could do uh, pyro. So you see this real fireball shoot out, not CGI, not After Effects, as if they remind me of a fireball I would see in Firestarter with Drew Barrymore. This fireball just comes out from the hill, and the two cops are running away from the vehicle and blows up Bill Paxton's car, hits the car, blows up, practical fashion. That was a cool effect. I'm like, wow, they did that for real. That looks really cool. You don't see a lot of that in the movie. But in the first 20 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty good. But that's where the problems happen. After that, the pacing is sluggish, because for the next 30, 40 minutes, you barely see the alien. It's them in this weird scene where they look at this, the whole shot's on this female security guard. And you just hear Bill Paxton and Lindsay Frost's voices. It never cuts to them. It's always on this one female security guard, and it's their voices as if they were not there on set, or as if this was written after the fact, and hey, you guys come in and do the voiceover. It was just weird how the director did this, and saying, oh, hey, you look like Sigourney Weaver. Paxton was in Aliens. So Lindsay Frost says, you look like Sigourney Weaver, and what was anyone tell you look like her? And she goes, anyone tell you you're full of shit? And they go off to John Hurt's office and they look through some files. They find a keyboard, one of those keyboards that when you type on the wall, the letters pop up, like the whole wall is a screen. And John Hurt says, get the fuck out of here. He doesn't literally say that, but you get the gist. And before John Hurt gets there, his men are interrogating that female murder suspect in this weird, cheap-looking interrogation. She's tied in the chair, and she looks up at the two people talking to her. And when it cuts to her point of view, it's one of those things where they take the image and they squish it and stretch it as if she's been drugged or she's out of it. And they stretch the image, and that's one of the things that made me think, is this made for TV, made for cable? That's something I would see in a lot of TV shows. Like, I swear I've seen that on the X-Files a couple times. It looked cheap. It looked Dirty D's done dirt cheap. But then at least, again, John Hurt telling him to leave. Bill Paxton has some stuff. Oh, you're pretty scary. You practice that in front of a mirror? Or when John Hurt goes, well, you stepped over a line. And Lindsay Frost goes, oh, really? Oh, over the line. Oh, really? Just being both smart asses. They leave. Right when they get in the car, the woman is thrown out and lands on their windshield. They investigate some more. They investigate this house, and they realize that this fucking guy has this laser sighting, and slowly telegraphs that they're there, because they notice there's a red dot, but they don't go bang yet, because wherever the red dot goes, slowly moves toward the explosives. They shoot it, given enough time for our two leads to jump out, and this really bad effect behind them of the house exploding, and they jump into the pool. And then it cuts to, I swear this is about 20 minutes of the film. All this stuff I'm talking about after they first met the fireball shooting alien. The next time they see the alien is on this high rise, and they didn't have the budget for this, so they honestly should not have attempted it. Where Paxton's on a high rise, and on the bottom, Lindsay Frost and this rookie are there, female rookie. And Bill Paxton is being kind of shot. I say kind of because pretty much the guy with the alien in him kind of does this, and then you see sort of a burst of flames go at, not a fireball, but a burst of flames at Bill Paxton. He sort of kind of gets out of the way. Then Lindsay Frost goes up. Same thing happens to her, and she's hanging off, and Bill Paxton pulls her up. And you could tell that green screen, however you want to call it, they just did not have the budget for that. And here I'm going, well, why don't you just have a car chase where the aliens start shooting fireballs at the other cop cars, or fireballs, and they're trying to maneuver from the fireballs? Or why has some gun fights where they're dodging fireballs and they keep shooting, they're dodging fireballs and they keep shooting, like you would see in The Hidden, or the car chase like you would see in I Come in Peace, where Matthias Hughes is shooting CDs into people's necks. That's why I Come in Peace and The Hidden are more well known, while Monolith, I'm probably the only fucking person on YouTube that's ever done a review for it. That's why it's average, okay, almost if it was made for cable. Not, oh, this is an underrated gem, because it's lacking in the action department. It's lacking. The director, I don't know. I say budget, but I Come in Peace and The Hidden had low budgets, but they utilized it, their action sequences, and a tightly paced. And if you don't have an alien being that can shoot fireballs, don't have it disappear for good chunks of the movie. I mean, throughout the next hour, this is about one of 3 times. That's one of 3 times we see it. The bit I told you about the fireball hitting their car, this bit on the high rise, which really isn't much to run home about. Now I'll get to the third one, because Lindsay Frost and Bill Paxton on the high rise, and the guy possessed goes down, and you have this over-the-top rookie trying to be funny, or I don't know if it's meant to be humor. I don't know what the hell it is. Come on, freeze. Okay, no, come on, freeze. No, okay, come on, freeze. I'll kill you. And then she dies from fire. You don't see it. You just get the idea of it. And they talk with Gossett Jr. And I like the bit where Gossett Jr. tells John Hurt, I'm going to shove this so far up your behind, your teeth would be pleading the Fifth Amendment. But when that's one of the best lines. And if you think that line sucks, I don't blame you. But again, this doesn't have as much memorable dialogue as other buddy cop films. But I do like the actors. I think that's really what kept me going. Is I like the gist of the plot of cops going after an alien that can possess people and shoot pyro. It's just, you could have done a lot more with that. A lot more. But yeah, they go and meet Louis Gossett Jr. They go to, it's his place, but not really his place. And again, one of the mistakes they make with the flick is they spend more time with these guys dealing with John Hurt's feds. For example, like before with the place exploding, because the guy with the beam on his gun slowly, ever so slowly, I turn step by step, inch by inch, Niagara Falls to the fucking bomb to shoot it. I don't know how many people would get that, but shoot it. Or this scene here where, okay, you have a helicopter and it shoots up his place and kills Louis Gossett Jr., but that was a part they were overreaching because when it shoots up the set, it looks a little bit cheap. Especially when, after Louis Gossett Jr. gets killed, Bill Paxton gets this rifle and he puts, I swear, it's just one little bullet. Not a rocket launcher, not a grenade launcher, like a rifle with one bullet. He shoots the helicopter one time and somehow it blows it up. It's not like him blowing up a missile that the guy's shooting either, because the guy shoots the missile off because it goes past them and blows up behind them. But again, Bill Paxton shoots this rifle, one bullet, and it blows up an entire helicopter. I'm like, what the fuck? Was that laced by C4 tipped explosives a la Rambo 2? And the fit didn't look that great because they just did not have the money for it. Which I'm thinking, if you don't have the money for it, you could do a la Icon Piece where, okay, I can afford cars exploding, gunfights, back and forth gunfights, maybe some fisticuffs, give some fisticuffs with the creature, or without hands, maybe use it like piece of wood or some other stuff. But you don't get that. You don't get any of that. And there's a good chunk where the alien presence is not in the movie. Because after that, because they kill Louis Gossett Jr., his friend, Bill Paxton takes one of the guys he finds, slams his arm in the car, which was cool, to break it, steers him by putting his head in the elevator shaft, and they finally get the information from him. There's this nice little stunt where both Bill Paxton and Lindsay Frost characters, they jump out of the way together while this car tries to slam into them. But it's a lot of dealing with John Hurt's military, like his feds, his black ops guys. And I read a review and it kind of made sense where it was almost as if the movie is really just about these two cops going after John Hurt's conspiracy guys, the feds. Oh, but there's this alien thing here, by the way. Kind of felt like that. Oh, by the way, there's this guy who can shoot pyro and he's got an alien in him. Sometimes it felt as if the movie forgot about that. And then another mistake the film does, and I know people are going, well, why don't you just call this a rant? Because I've seen a lot of movies that have made me pissed off. Despite all the complaints I have with the film, I can still watch it as an average time waster for Bill Paxton, Lindsay Frost, and Louis Gossett Jr. And it's only 90 minutes long, and I've seen much worse movies. Trust me, I've seen much worse films. I wish eat shit that would turn you white. But they go in the sewers. Bill Paxton gets possessed. That's another mistake because you take Bill Paxton out of the picture for the last 10, 15 minutes. And Lindsay Frost talks to a guy, and the guy says, you can still save him. He's going to the control center. So you have Bill Paxton going to the control center and fuck up John Hurt's guys by... He looks as if he's auditioning for Stanners and some kind of cheap looking effects shootout. And you get some people on fire. While Lindsay Frost gets there, she's going through the wreckage with a shotgun. And then she realizes the control center is sort of the core of the spaceship that John Hurt and them had found. And you almost get some Roger Corman level special effects. They're a bit fun, I'll admit. They're a bit fun, cheap, but they have sort of a fun charm to them. Again, sort of reminds me, I always see in, I was going to say Galaxy of Terror, but I'm actually thinking of Forbidden World or Battle Beyond the Stars, which Forbidden World stole effects from Battle Beyond the Stars, but I'm just saying. Sort of a little bit of fun level. Bill Paxton, he remembers, his partner's talking to him. He remembers his dead wife. He fights the alien out of him, and it goes into John Hurt. And it's sort of on his face as if John Hurt's head is on fire. That's special effects. Not actual fire, but it's some, I don't know, it's like alien extraterrestrial lightning. Best way I could put it. And you have the models of the ship blowing up, and both of them are trying to get out as the ship's going up, and as it explodes. And this all does look pretty cheap. They just didn't have the money for it. They both jump out, and they jump into the water, and Bill Paxton, they're still bickering to the end, these two. This is what I gotta tell you. What? I I guess the movie's supposed to make us think, oh, he's gonna say, I love you. I can't swim. And she's like, oh, God, you're pathetic. And you have a decent song. I forget what the song at the end was. I think that's why I can't get mad at the film. Sorry, I'm checking something. I can't get mad at the film because I liked Bill Paxton. I liked Lindsay Frost. I liked Gossett Jr. I like the little bit of pyro stuff I saw. I could get behind the gist of it. It's my kind of fun B-movie idea and plot. It's just, I think with a better script and a better director and more money, if you had those three things, you could have had something. You could have had a B-movie classic. But stick with the hidden or I come in peace. If you're a fan of Bill Paxton, it's worth a look. It's one of the few times he got to star in a film. It's one of the few times he got to be the lead in the film and play this kind of character, sort of the little bit of a slobbish, manly, badass character. It's just that they didn't really give him much to do fisticuffs wise. Like, if you don't have John Hurt's buddies, at least give some that Bill Paxton can at least punch a few or knock some motherfuckers out or such, or have some one-on-one with the possessed alien possessing this person or that person. Again, I know I didn't mean for it to go this long, but fuck it, Bill Paxton, he deserves it. And no one else has reviewed this fucking movie, so why not? If you could do better, feel free. I would love to see it. Believe me, you can do better than me. Believe me, I know that. I'm sincere in which I would love to see it because, hey, more people should talk about it. Because it's not the worst film ever. It's just, it's not a film I could defend either. Like when it gets a 4 point something to be, I'm thinking, yeah, I understand it, but it's an average, okay time waster movie. It's just, I like Bill, Lindsay, and Gossett Jr., but the effects are not that great. Some of them have a little bit of charm to it. Some of them, like the fireball and blowing up the car, was cool. But others, they were over ambitious in certain parts. While it needed a lot more action, it needed a lot more of the alien presence in there. And I think you needed a different writer and director. And I think it would have been better. But overall, oh, it was okay. It was average, despite all the complaining I had. That was an okay average flick. Anyway, that's my Longer than I thought it would be. Thoughts on Monolith. But hey, Bill Paxton's no longer with us. Miss the guy. It's no problem at all. So thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll stay tuned for another review. Later.